I decided to shoot the nest again. I put 2 blue eggs and a rope around it, or actually a piece of thread to make it look like rope. And then I added it to my picture that I took out on the dunes with my Lens Baby lens, which is my absolute favorite. So the trick to doing this is making sure scale is correct. So here I am resizing and positioning so that it can lay on my back. It's important to note that when you are shooting for something like this, you want to make sure you are pre-planning the end picture so that you know how to shoot it correctly. For example, I knew that I wanted the nest to be resting on my back, so I made sure when I was shooting my body to bend my back accordingly, as well as to bring a rope with me so that I can mimic the rope that is around the eggs. You will see how that turns out later, but little details like that are really important and should be thought of before shooting. This is a really, really important part in composite work. I am blending the nest in. It looks so good. It's the perfect position of my back right there. So it just sat right on. If you have trouble blending, you can kind of feel it when you're putting things together if it's just not working and you have to reshoot it. I actually did have to reshoot my body. It was really cold outside and snowing. So I decided to try to shoot this in my kitchen with a black blanket so I could composite myself into the scene, but it did not work. It was awful. So I decided to go outside and just deal with the cold, and it's always so much better just to go out and actually suffer, because you can see the tension in my body. I can't fake that. And in my face, you can see that I'm cold, which adds to the story of what I'm doing here. So I'm really, really, really glad I ended up reshooting. The nest came out fine, so I did not have to reshoot that. I am continuing to blend the nest into my body as well as the sky. All of those edges need to be nice and soft so that it doesn't look like it's just pasted in. Everything really needs to be blended with a super soft, fine brush. That's looking pretty good. Oh, those little edges up there are just as important. I also use the opacity setting a lot to brush away not 100%. I like to go down to 30% around there to make it an even softer line, an even softer transition from the background into the object that I'm erasing. And I'm bringing back some of that nest that I over-erased. Okay, let's talk color. that blue on those eggs it's just, do you see how it's not blending into the picture very well? It clashes. I don't like it. So I went in and desaturated that color and started working with changing that blue altogether. Little changes make all the difference. Speaking of, this is one of my favorite parts. The thread from the egg matched up really nicely on my shoulder. That's exactly where I wanted it to be. But the thread does not match the rope that I used. So I have to go in and clone the rope and the thread to blend those together. As you can see, I am continuing to blend those together. I guess I could match the pattern, but mostly I wanted to blend. And here we are after a lot of color work. The eggs finally blend really nicely. I like the clouds in the sky. It's just more interesting that way. Now it's time for some finishing work. And here we are.